Good afternoon. This is Chris Robinson, Robinson Ag Marketing, with today's midday update for August 1st, Friday. Well, not a good way to start the first day of the month. The Labor Department revised a bunch of jobs that they had said that had been created. They've revised them away. So that scared the stock market from yesterday's new all-time highs and no cuts from the Fed to after this type of information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It suggests that the Fed may have to cut because there's a lot of people that they thought had jobs that don't have jobs. So that's probably the number one driver today for the lower move in the stock market. But you got to remember, we're up 33% from the August lows. The April lows when we had the tariff sell-off. So if we have to correct, at least we're correcting from all-time highs. If you look at corn is fighting to hold on. We actually were higher earlier. These corn hit 416. It's trading in a 6 cent trading range. I'm a big believer that as long as 407.5 holds, we'll be in good shape. If that fails, it opens up the door to corn with a 3 in front of it. Unfortunately, for new crop corn, which nobody wants to see. September spot corn 389 and a quarter. That's basically we're at a 1 year low. If we take out 87, it opens the door to 77, and then it goes back to 60. So those are the levels to watch. Everybody's looking at it. Are we going to get there? I don't know. But that's what the chart risk suggests. New crop soybeans, it's the only green on the screen. It's up 2 cents after hitting 9.86 for a low, though. That is is it a victory? I don't know. We need beans to be north of $10, not sitting where they're at. The risk there, after making this 4-month low, we're back to the April low. The April low was 971 and a quarter, and then the contract low is 961. We hit that back in December. So there's markets telling you there's a max there of at least 30 cents worth of risk. So when there's 30 cents worth of risk, don't get aggressively short. Put a cheap put on there. You don't want to spend more than maybe 10 cents. That would be a lot, actually. So you want to keep your downside protection. It has to be relative to the actual risk. So with 30 cents worth of risk, I keep it somewhere around, certainly under 10, somewhere around 7 to 8, because you don't want to spend more than that to protect that downside. So what you really need is a trailing sell stop. Hopefully on the August 12th USDA report, we'll get a surprisingly bullish report. But if I'm a long producer and I don't have anything hedged, that's my next big risk. So again, do you want to get very, very, very aggressively bearish on contract lows? No, but you still need to defend the revenue. Wheat, definitely lower across the day here. September wheat, Chicago down 4 3/4 cent at 518 and a half, traded as low as 516 and a quarter. September KC wheat still holding in, doesn't taken out 515 yet. Trading at 520, down 6 cents. 515 is the contract low. And of course, Minneapolis wheat making new lows for the move, hitting 571. If you read my letter in the mornings, I've got the charts in there with the old lows if you want something specific if you're looking at. But the story continues the same for the grains. It's under pressure. There's no threatening weather. We had excellent exports in corn. That's one thing I wanted to mention. Great exports today, corn, like very, very impressive. But is that surprising when we're at 1 year lows? I don't know. We need a lot more of that if we're going to grow a 16 billion bushel crop. But certainly 1 year lows in the corn, bringing out the end users, which is not surprising. But we need a lot more of that. We need the fire hydrant of buying to open up, not just this trickle from a water fountain. So that's what I'm looking at there. Flipping over to the cattle. We gapped open higher, filled the gap, then we're lower, now we're higher. I'm really surprised to see cattle higher, even if it's just barely higher, when you've got a day with the stock market down. Right now I'm looking at the Dow's down 700, and the S&P is down 130. NASDAQ down 5.5. And by the way, the S&P and the NASDAQ made what they call key reversals yesterday, very similar to what happened in feeder cattle on the charts. So again, there's a big correlation between the stock market and cattle, which is makes it even more impressive to see cattle hanging in here. So I think it's a great opportunity for anybody out there. If you haven't protected this cattle rally, boy, get something on the books. Ditto for the hogs. Hogs are slightly higher as well, but there's downside risk there as well. You sort of see this in markets where sometimes it'll be, first day they sell this, then the next day they sell that. So we may get a little bit of a reprieve here in the protein complex. But again, even if we were to correct from these levels in cattle, right? I mean, nothing goes up forever and ever. It's like Icarus flying too close to the sun. Sooner or later, his wings melt and you fall. So instead of trying to obsess over is the top end, I would suggest just defending the revenue, sitting tight, and let Mr. Market do what he's going to do. So if you're looking for help with your marketing, if there's something out there that you're concerned about, I always put this in these comments. I've been doing this for 32 years. I started as a floor trader in 1992. I've been working with farmers and producers since the floor pretty much went away in 2010. I left the floor in 2009. I started working with farmers and ranchers in 2010. And I really enjoy working with farmers and producers. I can take a lot of stress off your plate. I do all the homework. I'll always give you my best opinion about what the risk is. And so if you're looking for help, give me a call, 312-638-8868. Look forward to talking to you. We'll have an afternoon final wrap up tonight. Tune in for that. This is Chris Robinson. Thanks for calling in.